Let's start with Megan. Megan, go.
Hey, Coach. It's been a couple days, so good to see you.
Likewise.
Just
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Talk to me about the importance of Camp Day today. Obviously, you got a lot of kids that are going to come out and see these games, but what do you think about all those screaming kiddos in the stands?
Yeah, I think it's just it's a fun opportunity, a fun environment for players to be able to play in. To be able to give back to kids and have them come out and support and watch. So Camp Day is always a cool opportunity and a cool day to be a part of.
Cool. And then just a quick follow-up from me. I guess talk to me about what it's going to take to win today. Obviously, you got several players out, but what's your keys to the game today?
Yeah, we have to do a tremendous job of protecting the paint. That's for sure. We have to take care of the basketball and not giving them easy opportunities. And then for us, I think our pace in transition, trying to score quickly, trying to score early. Um, Obviously, those things we have to do a good job of containing Kennedy, especially in the half court, and then keep them off the boards.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Hey, Coach. Good morning.
Morning.
Talking with Nas and Lowe yesterday, the one thing they did talk about, just what you mentioned, is the rebounding. What does Chicago do well? They seem to crash the board not only with their front line, but Kennedy can crash the board as well. What is the one thing that you're going to look for, and what do they do well on crashing the board?
Yeah, I think in particular they get really good positioning. Angel just has a knack for getting to the basketball. She has a nose for the basketball, and then it's just her toughness, her will to want to go get offensive boards. Obviously, Cardosa and her size makes a difference, but their positioning I think is what they do really well in terms of getting to the O boards.
And my last question, Coach, every time I get a chance to interview or talk with Nas, her ability just to see the game and talk about the game and just what she talks about the team, what is it about her leadership at this young age that she does so well, and what is that helps the team and keeps the team motivated?
Yeah, I think Nas is what we like to call an adult in the room. She has a great sense of self-awareness, and how that permeates throughout the team. She's somebody whose effort, attitude never changes no matter what's going on. And so that consistency, I think, is well respected throughout our team, our staff, because we know exactly what we're going to get from Nas each and every time.
Thank you, Coach.
Welcome.
Go ahead,
Hi, Coach. How you doing? Sorry.
Morning, Angel.
Good morning. Along the lines of what you said about Kennedy, just kind of um, how you contain her in the open court is too also when she establishes how she gets others involved on the offensive end. How can you disrupt her from really getting everyone else going as well?
Yeah, I think we have to do a good job of making Kennedy see bodies and not be able to give her the gaps. I think she's used to being able to get into certain gaps, and when she's able to do that, she's able to be a great playmaker for herself and for others. So we have to cut those gaps off. Keep bodies in front of her. We have to do a great job of staying in front of her and just making her make tough shots outside of the paint. I think, once she gets there, her ability to elevate, it makes it hard for you to really contest things. So we have to do a great job of keeping her in front of her and making her take contested 17, 15-foot shots.
And my last question, Coach, I know that you talked about pushing the pace and scoring early in the shot clock, and then addressing also how you need to take care of the ball. And over the last few games, like growing in that department, where's the happy medium between what turnovers you will allow or are comfortable with, understanding you want to push the pace of the game?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with aggressive turnovers. You know what I mean? Turnovers that we're having because we're trying to make aggressive moves, smart aggressive moves, not the soft turnovers. Somebody gets a deflection and now we're turning it over, or we're not doing our work early and we're taking shortcuts, and so they're able to get into the passing lanes, different things like that, or we're just being lazy with the basketball, or we're traveling because we're being pressured instead of ripping through and attacking if somebody is pressuring us, different things like that. So I don't want I prefer us to have aggressive turnovers if we're going to turn the ball over, and not make them live ball turnovers.
Go ahead, Lachana.
Hey, Coach, how are you? Long time
Hey,
no talk
Lachana.
to.
I know. Good morning.
Good morning. Just what has been the biggest challenge for you in having to adjust with so many pieces, unavailable, players kind of in and out. Cheyenne, I know, is back today, but how have you been able to manage the changes both offensively and defensively with personnel constantly shifting?
Yeah, that has really been the challenge, you know what I mean? But for us, like we still have a job to do, no matter who's out there. And so really focusing and honing in on what we can do with the personnel that we have. So playing zone when we need to play zone, simplifying things when we need to simplify things so that, there's not a bunch of different things going on in people's heads. We can keep it, simple across the board. But really just continuing to keep everybody's spirits high in the midst of all this change and adaptation. But at the end of the day, we still got a job to do. We got to go out there and we got to work our hardest and smart to be able to try to get the job done. So that in itself is a challenge, but it comes with the territory.
And my last question is, after the last Chicago game, you mentioned just a loss of poise down the stretch by the team, and you felt like maybe there were some things that you could have done to help them in terms of that poise. What would you want to see in those situations if you are down the stretch in that position?
Just a calmer demeanor, and not being frantic in terms of like when we have sets called, knowing exactly where we're supposed to be, getting there, and being able to execute down the stretch. Like at the end of the day, when you have those opportunities, you know what I mean. Really, all you want to do is be able to execute it the way that you've drawn it up. Making or missing the shot is just, again, part of the game. But at least if you can get the right look that you were looking for, I think offensively, and then on the defensive end, the same exact thing. Guarding things and executing things the way that you've practiced it, so you put yourself in a good position to try to win the game.
And I lied, I have one more question. You've obviously played alongside a lot of great players who were specialty players. You played around great all-around players, some of the best to play the game. With Angel's ability to rebound the ball, have you ever played with a player that reminds you of that in terms of that tenacity?
Have I ever played with a player in terms of like rebounding tenacity?
Yeah.
With Yo, maybe Yolanda Griffith. Yo was amazing on the boards. I mean, she snagged every single board that was around her, whether it was defensive and even offensive. I think against Rebecca Brunson, in terms of hitting the boards both offensively and defensively, with that same type of tenacity. Hard to keep Brunson off the boards. And I would say probably probably Yo. Camille Little was pretty good on the offensive boards. I wouldn't say in terms of like the tenacity that Reese has, but like the smarts in terms of how to go get an offensive board. Camille was pretty good at that.
And would you say there's a common denominator, or all of them kind of approached it differently? I hear you saying Camille was more smart. I know Yo was more long.
Correct. I would say Brunson and Reese are probably similar in terms of how they go get it, but just a will. You know what I mean? Understanding what their niche was. Obviously, Yo, Hall of Famer, but just understanding like what their niche was and how like they can impact the game, and that's something that clearly Reese, Brunson, Camille, Yo, those are areas where they impacted the game and had great effect for their teams.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, Coach.